I wanted to go a little bit into pages 380, 381, to think with you guys about Buddhist meditation. Now, if you remember that this stuff has come out of Hinduism, any of you who have done any practice of yoga will know that, for instance, within yoga, there are 8 limbs of yoga that include concentration, they include breathing, so that the Buddha has come out of an ancient tradition, what was already an ancient, developed, deeply psychological, deeply phenomenological practice and study of the body that he's developed in a particular school and way of reaching samadhi. He has, over time, multiple kinds of schools have developed, like the Zen school, so that people over time have adapted and developed. Are we talking 5 of these, 8 of those, 9 of these? This stuff is very complex, and when people try to simplify it in order to create vehicles for teaching, heuristic vehicles, vehicles that make it easy to teach, then they come down with their 3 disciplines, 5 precepts, etc. Right? So let's look in here on this one. And before we get there, we might as well avail ourselves. All right, you'll be able to find plenty of those deep throat Tibetan monk chanting videos if you would like to and learn about those. The point that I really want to emphasize with that is that we are talking about a tradition of practice, of an embodied human practice that has great respect for things such as the resonance and vibration of the body as itself one of those vehicles for enlightenment. So this is very much a practice-oriented tradition and a body-oriented tradition. Now, when you think about practice, I want you to think about football. When you look out at a football team practicing, have you ever said to yourself, can you believe those guys believe in football? Yeah, they're out there every day. Oh, they'll put hours into it. Yeah, they call it a game. Oh, yeah, and there are people from other places that come to play the game together, like they think it's something real. Everybody wears uniforms. They have the strictest rules about what they eat and how much, what they can do in a day when they have to go to bed. If you will take the word practice very seriously in understanding religious lives, if you will try not to think about religious traditions in terms of beliefs, because beliefs seem to be some kind of bubble in somebody's head, but instead, if you will think about the embodied practices, the daily work that empowers one, people are doing it because they are experiencing something that is worth the effort to do. They are perhaps finding joy, they are perhaps finding peace, they are perhaps finding connection, they perhaps enjoy the story that tells them what is their ultimate significance. So think about practice. Now, let's think about the three disciplines, right? So we have morality, shila, concentration, samadhi, and wisdom, prana, as those three arenas of life one has to develop through the Eightfold Path to achieve enlightenment. And our book does a really nice job of saying, although all three disciplines are supposed to be practiced together, most texts list the three in an order of priority, with morality first, concentration second, and wisdom third. Now that's a pretty interesting lineup, right? Like that you don't go for the wisdom first. And as you slow down and think about it, what they say makes sense. Morality is placed before concentration, with the reasoning that one cannot really practice settled concentration while one's mind is continually agitated by the effects of a morally discordant activities. So if you're running, cooking meth, let's say, and trying to concentrate, there's a very good chance that you've just created so much discord in one's head that you're not getting anywhere. So until you have got your morality down, better not try and do this kind of concentration, because it's hard work and requires single-minded devotion. Concentration is placed before wisdom because intellectual knowledge without the power of concentration is considered useless and possibly leading to a state of mental dissipation. So can I just tell you, here at the university, really our goal is not leading you to a state of mental dissipation. The point is to grow in your strength as competent citizens, right? So maybe in some ways we're a little bit Buddhist at the university. We're not trying to just work the head. We want this to be an engaged knowledge that helps you solve problems in the world. With regard to the two aspects of meditation, on the bottom of page 381, we hear that the practices of stabilizing meditation and observational meditation are thus characterized as two wings of a bird. If you've ever seen a bird with a broken wing, you understand the power of calling two kinds of meditative practice the two wings of a bird. Because unless you've got both going, you're flying in circles. If you have your morality down, you've done sufficient practice, you've lived by the 5 precepts, then it is time for you to take the next step in your training as a Buddhist. So the Eightfold Path is divided into the 3 areas of morality, concentration, and wisdom. Morality is shila, concentration is samadhi, and wisdom is prana. Once you have your morality down, then it's time to begin working on concentration and wisdom. And it is these two that are the 2 wings of the bird, concentration and the wisdom. So the concentration element, if we now start moving into the language of, or the science of meditation, is the stabilizing meditation, the shamatha. With the stabilizing meditation, one is likely to do things like simply focus on the breath and learn how to let go of other thoughts. And this can last for many of us for 2 seconds. It's actually, I really recommend to any of you to put on a timer and try 5 minutes of thinking of your breathing. Listen to it and understand yourself to be the gate through which the breathing is happening, and see how well your mind does. That's likely to show you what a minefield our minds are and how much spinning we do. So the right concentration will allow you to focus in, likely to be on a physiological characteristic like your breathing. Once you have quieted the mind sufficiently to be able to work towards wisdom, then you work into observational meditation. Because now you have managed, if you tried observational meditation before you've learned how to quiet the mind, your observations are going to go wacky all over the place. They are not going to be the observations of wisdom. Because wisdom, moments of wisdom are themselves very complex, it requires, you might think of being a surgeon, right? Don't give junior high kids scalpels. It's not a good idea. Give a trained surgeon a scalpel, and they can go do something remarkably complex, like healing a part of the brain. So by the time you have made it through, you've lived by the 5 precepts, you're moving into concentration, you move further into wisdom, you have stabilizing meditation and an observational meditation that can move you into the complexity of an idea like emptiness, like impermanence, like the Four Noble Truths, allowing you to test in many ways the wisdom to seek out the potential enlightenment, to provide trainings and teachings to others based on your experiences. If you think of it this way, then it makes sense that Zen Buddhism ends up with the koan. The koan would be that illogical question that will only be of use and make sense once one has quieted the mind and moved into questions of wisdom. I hope that's a little bit of help on what is this Buddhist practice. And I hope, as surely as you might watch a dancer and think they're dancing, that you might watch a Buddhist or listen to a Buddhist doing throat chanting and understand that they are at practice. You'll understand them better as bodies at practice than you will as bodies of beliefs. Thanks.